then set her body on fire.
It happened this morning on Simmons Street, that's near Vegas Drive at the Portola del Sol apartment complex. Dana Wagner is there live tonight. Dana, a couple people who live in the complex think they may have seen the killer.
A couple of neighbors say they saw a light-skinned, bald black man in his 20s or 30s get into the victim's car, a red Neon, right after the murder and take off. One neighbor in particular says she has seen that man hanging around this complex before. This is where the murder took place. Police were here most of the day, and as you can see from the door, they have dusted for prints on this site. Whole thing started around 9 o'clock this morning when the smoke detector inside this apartment was going off. Neighbors heard it, and my sources tell me that when maintenance crews arrived this morning, they entered the apartment and found a 64-year-old Asian woman dead, lying on the floor of her kitchen on fire. They tell me that the theory now is that she was killed first, then set on fire to try to cover up this crime.
Yeah, but she was. It's a tragedy that it happened to her, because it shouldn't have happened. She didn't bother anybody. She was cool.
The woman was last seen by neighbors sitting on her front porch this morning in this chair with a glass of iced tea and the telephone by her side. And while police haven't released her identity yet, she was known by her neighbors as a nice woman. But odd, it's believed she was mentally ill.
I'm not qualified to determine that, not whatsoever. But she would be walking up and down the sidewalk here, again, talking to herself in a loud voice, which I never understood a word what she was saying.
Police knew this woman, coming out to her home last March for throwing things at children, responding in December when she threw Christmas ornaments at her front door, and getting stopped by police Monday night, apparently for driving erratically. Neighbors say she seemed drunk when she didn't take her medication. A few days ago, she was walking around the apartment complex in an apron and nothing else.
There'd be days, you know, she'd come outside and she'd have a big temper tantrum and she'd kick to her, you know, her little stuffed animal around the front yard, and, you know, maybe that's the way she let out her stress. And 15 minutes later, she'll be fine. She'll be back to, hey, how you doing?
The woman moved to this apartment a year and a half ago after her husband died. She had few visitors, but her sister and her boyfriend occasionally made visits to this apartment. And tonight, neighbors say the apartment complex is a little more lonely without her. Reporting live, I'm Dana Wagner for News 3.
All right, Dana, thank you. Again, police are looking for a light-skinned black man who is bald. He's believed to be in his 20s or 30s, and he could be driving that woman's car, which is a red Dodge Neon.
A school principal from the Midwest is picked up right here in Las Vegas after a nationwide FBI manhunt. Until this afternoon, the FBI had pictures of William Andy Beath on the homepage of its website. Now that picture has a captured sign across it. Beath allegedly took off a week ago with 11-year-old Gabrielle Marshall from Lake Station, Indiana, and brought her all the way to Las Vegas. Gabrielle was a student at the Baptist Elementary School where Beath was principal. Today, the two were picked up along Boulder Highway near the Budget Suites where they'd been staying.
He spotted the description. It was a white male and a young African-American female. Spotted him in the car, took the initiative to link that to the suspect and victim descriptions, initiated the traffic stop, and Mr. Beath presented identification, identifying himself with his real name.
Tomorrow, 28-year-old Beath will face kidnapping and other charges in federal court.
He said he came for a refund, but he didn't deserve one. He really came to rob the store. Now police need your help to find him. They say the guy you see in this surveillance video walked into a store near Rainbow and Cheyenne Friday night about 7:30. He told the employee he wanted to make a return at first. He handed over a shopping bag, then he robbed the employee at gunpoint. Suspect's about 5'5", around 20 years old. He was wearing a tan baseball cap with the letters LSW on it. If you know who he is, call Secret Witness at 385-5555.
The man accused of causing an accident on US 95 that left 3 people dead appeared before a grand jury this morning. Mitchell Detloff is being held on $2.2 million bail. He faces 96 years in prison on charges of involuntary manslaughter, reckless driving, and leaving the scene of a fatal crash. The grand jury's charges will be read in open court tomorrow. We'll let you know what they decide.
Police have not pressed charges against the parents of a 5-year-old boy found locked in the trunk of a car this weekend. That boy remains in critical condition tonight. Police say the boy was playing hide and seek when he climbed into the trunk of his mother's car out at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This happened on Sunday. He got locked inside, and temperatures soared into the 90s that day, much hotter inside that trunk. How the child eventually got out of the trunk is still a mystery.
How young is too young to get married? Right now, a 48-year-old man and his 15-year-old bride are fighting to stay husband and wife. The bride's father wants Nevada's Supreme Court to nullify their New Mexico marriage, but as of today, no date has been set for a decision in the case. Under Nevada law, a juvenile younger than 16 can marry as long as one parent gives permission, and in this case, the bride's mother gave her consent.
Can you imagine no AC to cool off on a hot day like this? That is the deal in parts of the Golden State today as rolling blackouts hit more than 300,000 homes. High demand because of the heat and low supplies forced energy regulators to initiate a second day of the rolling blackouts. Power outages yesterday caused traffic lights to go out all over the state, forcing police to direct traffic by hand. The blackouts are forcing some store owners to just close up shop.
It's going to be tough. I mean, actually, I talked to them about maybe even putting a, some solar panels on top of the roof and keeping like a backup battery so that we can, keep them working while, power's out.
This was the 6th time this year California energy operators had to call for these blackouts, and the situation could get even worse as the weather gets even hotter.
Distracted drivers cause 1.5 million accidents a year. But according to AAA, cell phones are not the top cause of wrecks. The biggest hazard on the highway? The people in your car. Talking to passengers is number one. Another common distraction, looking at wrecks on the side of the road and trying to keep an eye on your kids in the back seat. Many of you know what it feels like to walk to your car in the same place you parked it, only to find out it's gone. Is your car on thieves' most wanted lists? Metro has just released a list of the top 10 cars reported stolen in the Valley this year. Topping the list is the Chevy Camaro, followed by the Honda Accord, Ford Mustang, Toyota Camry, and Dodge Caravan. Rounding out the most wanted list, the Nissan Sentra, Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, Buick Regal, Plymouth Voyager, and the Saturn SL2.
You're not really aware of it too much, but there's been occasion when I've just been walking around and you get this feeling and it's, oh my.
It's Bill.
Well, it is time again to save you some money. We had the wrong tape queued up there, but we want to pass along another tip from one of our viewers. We've been asking you to send in your ideas on ways you found to keep the bills as low as possible, and you are responding. Thank you. In fact, tonight we want to thank viewer Clyde Ernaga, who came up with an idea that provides savings and security: motion sensor lights. Clyde says, like a lot of us, when he goes to bed at night, he's torn between turning off the porch light to save power or leaving it on as a deterrent for crooks. Well, a motion sensor light like this one stays off until movement triggers it to come on. So you save a lot of power that way, especially over the overnight hours. Now, if you're thinking, Jim, I don't know how to change a light fixture, that's why I'm here. I'm about to show you how easy it is. The first step, an important one. You need to find the circuit breaker that powers the light you're going to be working on and turn it off. Next, you want to just take off the screws from the old light fixture and pull it away from the wall. Then you're going to be finding something inside called wire screws, and that's one of them right there. You just twist them off, and that's what connects the wires from the light to the wires coming from your house. Then do everything you just did in reverse. Attach the motion light to the wall, and you're done. It took me about 15 minutes to put this one in today, and voila, we've got a light that will come on whenever something moves out in the yard, but stay off most of the time, again, saving power. Thanks, Clyde. Great idea. And to the rest of all of you, keep them coming. If you have a money-saving idea, you'll find an easy way to email me by going to kvbc.com and clicking on the button that looks just like this.
From high-powered politicians to the guy next door, Viagra has changed the lives of men around the world. Now a local doctor has come up with something just for women, designed to turn up the heat on your love life.
You're not really aware of it too much, but there's been occasion when I've just been walking around and you get this feeling and it's, oh my.
It's billed as the Viagra for women. We'll put Vitara to the test to see if it really works.
Plus, get ready to pay more for mailing and shipping with the post office. We'll tell you why they're raising their rates again.
And she's a former Playboy playmate hoping to cash in on her late husband's estate. We'll tell you what a judge decided. Coming up on News 3, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at 5.
They got people talking the moment they hit the market. They're the subject of countless jokes. Former Senator Bob Dole swears by them. They are the little blue pills called Viagra. Viagra has changed the love lives of men, but there's really not much out there to help women.
News 3's Beth Fisher found a new product that claims to be the female equivalent of Viagra. And Beth, this is not a pill, it's a cream.
It is a cream that comes in this little blue bottle called Vitara. A Nevada doctor and his wife created the potion. You just rub it on, not on your arm obviously, causing the blood to rush to the surface, in theory making you more sensitive. You'll see what it does to my arm by the end of this story.
Here, ladies, have some.
The women in Dr. Frank Topo's office are clamoring for samples.
How many do you want? Do you want a bag?
Ever since his nurse agreed to try Vitara, the rest of the staff has wanted some.
It's warm, but it's tingly. It has kind of an after effect that kind of stays with you. You're not really aware of it too much, but there's been occasion when I've just been walking around and you get this feeling and it's, oh my, and you think, well, maybe I would really like to, go home and...
What are you taking for your blood pressure?
Dr. Frank Topo sees patients of all ages and all genders, but it's his female patients who prompted him to develop Vitara.
I typically work at emergency rooms, and honest to God, I've seen women who have come in automobile accidents and have broken something, and after I've worked with them for a while, I say, hey, by the way, you seem to be a pretty good guy. Let me tell you another problem I have with a broken leg. So I mean, it's real important.
But does the cream work? News 3 had about a dozen women try the cream. They gave it mixed reviews. Still, the cream will be in this year's issue of the Physician's Desk Reference. The Topos hope that will get the word out.
Sexual dysfunction in women is a lot different than in men. Men can go to a doctor and get treatment for it, where women just think there's something wrong with them and it's kind of a secret. Don't talk about it.
Felton, Johnson.
But Nurse Welch is talking about how this product is long overdue.
Basically, the older you get, the more of a problem you have, and that's just honest.
I'm not sure if you can see from a distance, but it kind of made my arm bright red here, and you can see a wheel where the blood rushed to the surface. The Topos say there are no known side effects, although one of the women who tried it for me did have an allergic reaction. As for its effectiveness, it really just seems to depend on who you ask. Nina?
And if you'd like more information about Vitara, the number is 8779-VITARA.
Time for a traffic check now. Tom Hawley above I-15 and Charleston.
Yeah, that's where we've got a little bit of bad news to deliver, unfortunately. First, the good stuff. In the short term, it looks great. No big delay here whatsoever. But we have been talking for the past couple of weeks about this lane that drops off here on the right side of the road in between Charleston and the Wall Street overpass. That's where the Department of Transportation is building a sound wall. Scheduled completion of that particular restriction was this week. However, that schedule has now been pushed back. Now we're looking at May 16th. So next week, before that restriction will be lifted. Sure, it looks great now, but in the morning rush hour, it's a bear just about every single morning. Got to put up with it for one more week. May 16th, now the scheduled date for that lane on southbound 15 to reopen. Tom Hawley reporting from Sky 3.
All right, Tom, thank you. You're going to have to dig a little deeper into your pockets at the post office soon. Just 5 months after raising rates, the Postal Service is doing it again. This time, the good news, if there is some, is that the increase does not affect first-class mail like the letters you send. It does raise the prices on priority and express mail, though. Also, magazines, postcards, and all those ads you see in your mailboxes. Some locals are mad about the news. They complain the quality of service they're getting isn't worth the money they're paying.
I think they just want too much money myself, because the mail's getting slower instead of, faster.
You're not getting the quality of service that you need. And that's my point.
Well, the rate hike goes into effect July 1st. Like it or not, the Postal Service says fuel, transportation, and rising salaries are the reasons for the increase. Give you a look at how the added charges break down. Postcard stamps are going up a penny to 21 cents. Advertising mail will go up 1.5 to 3/4 of a cent, depending on what kind it is. And additional weight on express and priority mail will go up by 2 cents per ounce. All those pennies really add up. This increase is expected to bring in an extra $900 million every year.
Dr. Jim Siebert joins us now to talk about another hike in our temperatures.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, we're moving up close to the record-breaking zone anyway. I don't think we're going to make it today. Our record high is 102. We're flirting with that right now. We're going to try to get there, but I don't think we're going to quite make it over the century mark. But we do have a great shot. Tom is up in Sky 3. What are we going to look at this afternoon, Tom?
Well, we're just going to give you a little sweeping panorama of the Las Vegas Valley Gym. And for people who don't get out enough, well, here's the view here with Frenchman and Sunrise Mountain on the right side of your screen, coming across to the Sheep Range and Gas Peak on the left side of your screen, just coming into view. Gorgeous day, Jim, but a little bit toasty up here.
Yeah, it's a little bit hot everywhere. If you notice there in the sky, there's hardly any cloud cover at all, so we're not getting much of a break. In fact, current conditions right now, 95 degrees at the airport, 13% relative humidity, northeast winds at 7 miles an hour. So we don't have much of a breeze to help cool things down at all either. So there's the conditions at the airport. Let's check our live weather net station right here at our KVBC studios. It's 95 degrees here in North Las Vegas. South winds at 2 miles an hour, and it's at 516. So these are live conditions, folks, by the way, and only 7% relative humidity. It's warm, it's dry, no wind. Yeah, it feels like summer, doesn't it? Well, I know, we still have to warm up a little bit more yet. All right, here's a look at the allergy report. Now, some changes today. Weed pollen is still high. Tree and grass are down to moderate range. And I am told that we are now past the peak pollen season. So slowly but surely, everything should be getting better as far as our allergy problems. But we're going to take it. It's going to take us a little while to get there, though. Quick check of the temperatures across the valley, and yeah, it's downright hot out there. We're already 100 degrees, Spring Valley, Henderson, 102, 100 out at Lake Mead. We're looking at 93 up in Summerlin, 98 in North Las Vegas. So we've got all kinds of things as far as temperatures go. Now, major storm systems across the country. Still this big cold front that produced severe weather back in the Midwest yesterday. Now bringing in some stronger thunderstorms. It's losing a little bit of its punch, though. Still some showers and thunderstorms into Texas out here to the west. So high pressure still pushes the moisture, pushes that cooler air away from us. And really, it's good news if you like the sunshine, because that's exactly what's going to continue to happen. You see this cold front here. Well, there is much cooler air behind it, but all of that is going to pass well to the north of us. Really isn't going to impact us at all. So we look at the temperatures, you can see 57 right now up in Seattle. Nice cooler air moving off to the east, but it isn't going to get to us at all. 70s as we look in the mid part of the country, 80s into Texas. So our forecast, 71 for the low tonight. Hotter tomorrow, 101. So again, pretty close to a record-breaking day as far as temperatures go. If you're going to be outside, start thinking very carefully. Water, shade, all those good things to protect yourself. Mount Charleston, 42 for the low, 77 for the high tomorrow. Southwest winds 5 to 15. Beautiful day to go out on a hike if you have lucky to have the day off. Lake Mead, 72 for the low, 103 for the high. So over the century mark out of the lake. In the 5-day forecast, well, looking good. More sunshine all the way to the end of the week. Slowly cooling things off, though, and as we head towards Mother's Day on Sunday at 95 for the high, but it looks like these temperatures well above normal for this time of the year continues well into the end of the work week. Jim and Nina, back to you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Jim. Her wedding to an older man turned a lot of heads.
But now a former playmate's battle over her late husband's estate may be over. We'll tell you what a judge is deciding coming up on News 3, where news comes first. A new wave of crime, the same old fear. A neighborhood already targeted in a series of home invasions may have yet another criminal on the loose.
For weeks, we've been telling you about a serial robber stalking homes in the Henderson area. Now it appears another thief may be moving in on his territory. The target area we're talking about is down near Eastern and Windmill. As Denise Roche reports, this crook is able to get inside homes while the homeowners are there, and they never even know it.
Taken us, what, 2 hours?
This is not how Louise and Leon Oshikeski wanted to spend their day.
300. One more to go.
Waiting for their number to be called at the DMV.
Your driver's license is your identity, and they took that, so what do you do?
But Monday night, her purse and his wallet were stolen.
Our house was burglarized yesterday.
From the one place the Oshikeskis felt the safest. It happened sometime between 8 and 9 at night. As the couple sat in their computer room, a burglar slit a back screen and came inside. The door was open for fresh air. It cost them their sense of security.
We were just in the room over here. I mean, like only 10 feet away from them, and we never even heard them.
But the Oshikeskis weren't the only victims in this quiet neighborhood. The burglar also went through an open garage and targeted Michael Lockwood's home while his wife and a friend were swimming in the backyard.
This kind of thing encourages whoever this person was who did it, it encourages they're going to do it again and again. And that's even more of a reason for everyone, I think, to just look out for themselves, talk to their neighbors.
It is just scary that it was so close.
Metro crime scene analysts did take fingerprints from both houses last night, but so far they have no leads in this case.
When it gets hot like this, it's so tempting to leave your doors and windows open, especially in the evening hours. Well, you can do that and still protect your home from thieves. Add a second locking device to your sliding glass doors and windows. Many people use those pins that you drill into the door or window frame. Well, you can actually drill a couple of holes so that you can keep your door open for a little fresh air, but still locked in place with the pin there. Some other things to think about. Crime prevention experts always have told me to keep your garage door closed even when you're at home. Consider installing a home security system. Even a sign in the front yard warning people that your house is equipped with an alarm is sometimes enough to ward off the crooks. Finally, get to know your neighbors. That way you can keep an eye on each other and anything suspicious that happens on your block.
Some good news tonight for Anna Nicole Smith. The former Playboy playmate has been fighting a long legal battle to get her share of her late husband's estate. Now a federal judge has tentatively ruled in her favor. The settlement would give Smith about $475 million. Smith has been criticized for her marriage to the late 90-year-old oil baron J. Howard Marshall. She married Marshall when he was 89, she was 26. The judge says he'll make a final ruling next week.
After much debate, voters here in Nevada said yes to allowing marijuana to be used legally for medicinal reasons. Now, after all that, the Review-Journal is reporting it's not going to happen because state lawmakers don't have the money to start the program. Lawmakers say if they do find the money in the budget, the bill will be approved and the program will be launched, but they aren't expecting that to happen.
He paid $20 million for a vacation that was out of this world. And even though space tourist Dennis Tito is back on Earth, his mind is still on Cloud 9.
I think both NASA and the Russian Space Agency have done a tremendous job working together, and seeing the station firsthand definitely proves that in my mind.
What a lucky guy. Tito and his fellow cosmonauts spoke about their trip to the International Space Station today. He says he choked up when he talked to his children from space. Tito also says that he never wanted to spark any conflicts between the U.S. and Russia over his trip. NASA was never really happy about it. He says his voyage was definitely worth the money, and he hopes others will do the same someday.
Some Las Vegas couples are also feeling a little out of this world today.
We'll tell you what Elvis and the internet have to do with a ceremony at a chapel on the Strip. Next, here on News 3, where news comes first.